I ripped an airline! Oh,
Nobody wants to be called a poser, but when I bought my 240SX 15 years ago, I had every intention of building it into a sick drift car and attending the local grassroots events. And don't get me wrong, my buddies and I would go out at all hours of the night and thrash these things in the local parking lots until the sun came up. But things are a little bit different now. I have a family with kids. I can't exactly be sneaking out at 2 o'clock in the morning to go get in trouble with my buddies. So the good news is I did build this car into a pretty sick drift car. So what we're gonna do is take it to an open drift event for my very first time up in Washington and see if this thing can hold out for a full day of drifting, as well as get myself some valuable seat time, hopefully, in a safe and fun environment. Unfortunately, our local racetrack doesn't allow drifting anymore, but there's another track up north about 2 hours from my house that does drift events twice a month, which is pretty exciting. So I just signed up for the event this weekend, and I need to take a look over the tech inspection sheet as well as make sure I have the proper safety equipment. I've got my dad's old motorcycle helmet up here, which is a pretty cool piece of nostalgia, but I'm a little bit afraid that it might not be up to snuff here and it's probably expired. May 1995. That's pretty old. That's almost as old as I am. So I don't think it's gonna pass tech. Of course, I would love to buy a super sick $2,000 carbon fiber helmet, but I don't think that's a great idea since I don't race a ton. And as you see, these things do eventually expire. So I'm gonna go with the more economic route and just buy something affordable now that will keep me safe. And maybe in the future, if I start going to drift events a lot, I'll buy something really cool and maybe even have it custom painted. I just bought a brand new fire extinguisher. The one that was in the car was a little bit dated, so I want to make sure that all of this safety stuff is pretty well squared away. The only other things they have on this tech inspection list really is just making sure that everything is tight, like your battery, lug nuts, seats, steering wheel, seat belts, all that stuff that will be really important to stay on the car as you're drifting. They've got a couple of other things on here. Vehicles cannot be higher than 8 inches off the ground. That's definitely not going to be a problem. And let's see, all cars require a complete exhaust system. Check. I've even got a catalytic converter. All right, everything is ordered and the car is looking pretty much squared away. I did spend the last 6 months getting this thing dialed in. The only thing I see that I think I'm gonna look at is the steering column is a little bit loose, so I'll put a wrench on that and see if I can get it any tighter. This thing is really loose. That is bad. I'm glad that I figured this out because you do not want the steering wheel coming off when you're driving. I'm a little bit nervous for this. I haven't really drifted this car much in, the last 5 years. So definitely really excited, but hopefully everything shows up on time. My dad's coming Sunday morning. We're gonna throw this thing on the trailer, go up to Washington and see if it can make it through an entire day of drifting. Everything has finally showed up. We've got the fire extinguisher and my helmet. I can't wait to try this thing on, and I even ordered a tinted visor for it so my eyes won't be hurt by the sun. I should probably put this thing on, make sure it fits, and sit in the car, see how that all feels, and probably drive it around the neighborhood a little bit. Not sure what my neighbors are gonna think about that. So of course, I'm a camera nerd and I'm always gonna do my best to make everything look and sound as good as possible. I took my Sony camera and I have put the wireless microphone receiver on it. I'm gonna put the transmitter inside the helmet, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me as I'm drifting and talking to myself or whatever I've got to say, but let's give it a try. Well, I'm talking. I've never actually driven with race gloves on before. This is pretty cool. All right, that's pretty loud. How does that sound? It's gonna be hard for me to not overmodulate the microphone with my voice. I'm sure my neighbors think I'm crazy driving in with a helmet on. They probably think I'm gonna go drift the neighborhood. Man, I feel really cool, that's for sure. Hopefully my car holds together long enough that I'll have to use another set of tires. I've got a set of wheels behind me hanging on the wall, my weds. I'm gonna bring a pair of those, and I also have another pair of rears up in my little loft thing here that I've never even ran on the car before, so I'll bring 2 sets of spares, and it'd be great to actually drift long enough to use all those. I was gonna mount the fire extinguisher in the original place I had it before, kind of here on the seat rail, but it seems like these new seats are a little bit bulkier than the old ones and it's not really gonna fit very easily. I think it would be cooler to just have it here on the transmission tunnel anyways, so let's just drill some new holes. Just using rib nuts to install this. Such a great invention. Don't need a nut on the back of the screw. Just kind of press these in there and you're good to go. Unfortunately, Reese is a little bit too young to go to a drift event with me. You know, he's only 2, he's a little bit needy and needs constant supervision. So one day he can go, one day he can ride passenger and maybe even drive this car. We'll see. You like race cars?
Yeah, I like this.
Fire extinguisher is in. Most important thing is that the driver can reach it. So if I noticed a fire, I would quickly undo my seatbelts, probably pull my steering wheel off if I remember to do that. Pull this thing out, extinguish the fire. Yesterday was cool. I got everything squared away on the car, so I think it's pretty much ready. My dad came over and we loaded it up onto the trailer, and I didn't want to take the bumper off just because it kind of seemed like it would waste a lot of time with the loading and unloading, so we kind of figured out a method with some wood blocks and things, which I think will definitely save some time in the long run. Yeah, I mean, I'm nervous, I'm excited, I'm pretty much everything. I just want the car to hold together so I can link some corners, and I think it'll be a really good day. All right, everything tied down here. I'm trying my best to keep this as simple and minimal as possible, but I feel like we've already got just so much stuff. All right, here we go. Hour and a half it says to get there.
Oh,
yeah, 15 years ago I was filming my first drift event. Now I'm finally gonna drive one. I always had the intention of driving one, it just never came together. I figured it was a good idea to grab some sandwiches. Dad's gonna go park. All right, so far everything's been pretty cool. We got the car here, got it off the trailer, and I just passed tech inspection. They were super chill, super easy. Only worry right now is my car obviously is pretty low, and I've been hearing lots of stories about how bumpy the track is, so that might be a problem. Hopefully we come back with the body kit still in one piece, but if not, I know how to fix fiberglass. This is finally it. I'm definitely a little nervous, but I'm pretty excited. First thing I'm gonna do is just go over to the skid pad and just huck a little donut or two. Well, here goes nothing. Try this out. She drifts. All right, let's go to the track. I'm not as bad as I thought. Yeah, car needs to cool down a little bit. First 2 laps was fun as hell. Whew. I was gonna pull over and make sure all the body panels are still on. That was fun. Oh my God, I'm addicted already. The first 2 laps was so much fun. Holy this car drifts for sure. I didn't think it would drift that good, and it drifts really good. That made me so happy. I had a little issue with the water temp getting a little high, so I might not be able to hot lap back to back. But that's all right. It's good to stop and let the car cool off. And yeah, I'm just gonna get back out there. I was having so much fun. So first casualty already. I cut my finger setting up the GoPros. Somebody gave me a Spider-Man Band-Aid, so that's really nice of them. I don't want to get my cute gloves all bloodied up. Those gloves look sick though. Got the Rolex on the gloves. That's pretentious. I'm totally that asshole that comes out here with a bunch of money and like everybody hates them. That's me.
One of those rich guys.
That's not me, but it is.
What time is it?
Time to drift. I lowered the air on the air ride in the rear a little bit, which will probably give me a little more grip. We'll see how that feels. I ripped an airline! I hooked it into that corner and like went too far, went full lock, tried to save it, and I haven't gone full lock in this car a lot, and I think I broke the fitting on the airline in here. Yep. Luckily I already did that once, and so I know exactly how to fix it. Luckily I didn't damage the car too bad. We'll get that union fixed and we'll be right back out there. Luckily, I'm good at fixing stuff. Those two pieces are supposed to be connected.
Oh, why aren't they?
All right, so I've got these little unions, and basically the same thing. This one's supposed to go in a bulkhead, but probably don't need it to. Just union the two cuts together, and it makes the air ride work again. Fixed. We'll see if that holds. The first problem solved. The other problem is it looks like my car is leaking a crap load of oil. Oh, you know what? My catch can's full.
Oh, yeah?
Typical drift car problems. Oh. You have way less mechanical sympathy for the car when you have your helmet on and you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
You just push the freaking gas pedal down until the car drifts and whatever is going on.
Kind of lost my mojo.
The 240 is doing really good. Been out there for probably 5 or 6 laps now, and yeah, it's holding together. The only bummer is it keeps getting really hot. The coolant is getting hot, so I definitely need to work on the cooling system and see what's up with that, because I can't do 2 laps in a row. I basically have to do a cool down. Maybe I'll just do like 1 lap and then circle around, get back in line and do that, but it's a lot of fun. Definitely starting to figure out the line, starting to learn how to look, you know, past the corner into the next corner and set up the car. A couple of these corners are kind of tricky because you go from a big sweeper into a little hairpin, so it catches you out sometimes if you're not expecting it, and you just end up like coming to a stop and parking the car sometimes. So, but yeah, it's been tons of fun.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm heading over. We need a 10mm wrench. The f***ing sunroof motor fell off the roof.
Well, the car made it back in one piece, and I just had such a great time out there. It was so much fun getting some valuable seat time. Learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about the car. The air ride thing wasn't a big issue, but the radiator getting too hot definitely kind of dampened the mood. I would have loved to be able to hot lap a little bit more. Every time I started feeling like I was getting really comfortable, the car just started overheating and I had to bring it in. So probably gonna get some better radiator fans for that. You know, check over the cooling system. I'm pretty sure there's just some rusty old water in there. So get some real coolant in there. Maybe even do like a radiator sprayer if I have to. So we'll see, but big shout out to Spirit Peaks for providing us with such a cool place to drift and just such a chill environment, and my dad as well. Huge shout out for him helping me trailer the car, being like in my pit, you know, with the wrenches and everything with the toolbox. We had a good time talking on the radio and stuff, so that was really cool. And yeah, I think we could probably have been better prepared. We had no zip ties, no oil, you know, very few amount of tools. That's totally my bad. I focused more on bringing cameras and things and just being nervous than anything. So hopefully in the future we'll do a better job at that. I think we're probably gonna go one more time this year, maybe if the weather holds out. And then next year, I wanna just hit it every single month, like spring and summer, and get some of my buddies out there to drift with me. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So stay tuned. I think we're turning a chapter here with the 240. Gonna be drifting it a lot more. And check your polarizer.